Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to another episode. We're so happy you're here, and it is so greatly appreciated. Man, I remember when I first started this channel, and we were at 0 subscribers, and I had comments like, who are you even talking to? No one subscribed to your channel. And even though we still have a long way to go, being somewhere around 540 or so subscribers, it's kind of crazy when you think about it. To me, it's still a low number because I'm shooting for the sky, but it's so greatly appreciated for you guys that follow along, for the guys that's been so supportive of this channel and our mission and really trying to educate you guys. And again, I educate you based on my experiences. A lot of people may oppose the things I have to say, and that's fine, man. You know, in a world where people can't even agree to disagree anymore, that's what this is about partially, is I want you to be able to come on here, give me a comment, give me a thought. Even if your thought or comment is opposite of what I feel, I don't care. That's the end of the day. Debate is the most important thing, and that's how we grow. If you haven't already and you're new, or even if you've been here before and you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, man. Give us some love. Why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Smash that like button while you're at it, man. Help that algorithm. These things are so freaking important. In this world of social media, that's how we get, you know, our online, and that's how people get to see our You know, I spent a lot of time creating this content for you guys, and I'm not going to stop. But the more you guys subscribe, like, all those things, comment, it really helps us out. So please, if you don't mind, it's free, do it. Thank you. With that being said, today's topic, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about stack temperatures as it pertains to like combustion. And mainly I'm going to talk about steel and cast iron boilers. I'm not getting into the high efficiency stuff. That would be a topic for another day. But I thought it was important to come on here and talk to you guys a little bit about how high stack temperatures can affect your combustion, can affect your efficiency, why it happens, why it may not happen, and all of the above, okay? Because I have learned through the years, especially these days now, like everything's going green. You know, I'm in New York City, our company's in New York City, where they're super stringent on efficiencies and going green and all the I'm not going to get into the politics of it. That's not what this channel is about. But I definitely wanted to touch on this because it is an important topic and something that is important for you guys out in the field to understand. So if you can imagine a vessel, right? You're sitting, you're watching this video, you're thinking to yourself, okay, high stack temperatures, what's he talking about? If you're somebody that works on cast iron or steel boilers, you're going to completely understand what I'm saying. If you don't, I'm going to explain it as best way I possibly can, and I'll use as many layman's terms as I can, but I'm going to talk as a boilerman. You have a vessel. Inside this vessel, or on the outside of this vessel, we have a burner. Now, depending on what state you're in, where you're watching this from, you could be using different fuels. I know even some places are using recycled fuels, but for the instances of what we deal with, I deal with number 2 oil and natural gas. 99.9999% of the time. Actually, 100% of the time. It's those two fuels. Some number 4, but I don't want to get off into the weeds. You get the point. So my burner's there, my vessel's here. Now, on a steel boiler, we have 3-pass, we have 2-pass. I did a video on this recently, but on a 3-pass, just a quick reminder, you have the chamber, which is your first pass. That's where the flame goes. Bounces off the back wall, comes through the bottom tubes, bounces off the front wall, goes through the top tubes, which are different lengths, and then it goes out the chimney. 3-pass. 2-pass is basically the same thing, but think about it in 2-pass. I have my chamber, bounces off the back wall, bounces through the tubes, out the chimney. And then there's cast iron boilers. Cast iron boilers have a chamber where the flame is, the heat exchange is directly above it, and then out. So that, as you can imagine, there's more absorption of heat going on inside the steel tube boilers as there is going into a cast iron vessel. So understanding those 3 things is super important to start, because all of these things affect the combustion in the first place. Now, this isn't specifically about combustion, but it is a part of the conversation, so we're going to talk about it. Typically, I'm looking at, we're not dealing with any low NOx stuff. We're just talking regular burners. So I'm looking at my CO. I'm looking at my CO2, which is basically my fuel for the equipment. I'm looking at my oxygen, and I'm looking at my draft. And all of these things combined, it's like baking a cake. You have ingredients. You got to put the ingredients together a certain way if you want the cake to come out the way you want it to, right? So with that being said, I got on gas, I have one set of parameters that I'm looking to attain. On oil, there are another set of parameters that I'm looking to attain. And all those numbers combined also give me what stack temperatures I have. And then overall, it takes all those numbers, puts them together, and comes up with an efficiency number. Now, here's the important part. On a steel boiler, specifically 3-pass, 2-pass pretty much as well, it's debatable what's more efficient. To me, 3-pass is probably a little more efficient. We're keeping a little bit more positive pressure in the chamber, which is what these boilers are looking for. And with that, I'm able to kind of play with my combustion a little bit better. And on top of that, that equals better combustion, better numbers, and all of the above. Now, I go to a job, and you got to remember something too, by the way. In New York City, we have requirements. On natural gas, the efficiency has to be above 80%. On fuel oil, I have to be over 82 or 83%. It's definitely one of those. But still, you get the point. We're talking a percent. But sometimes the percent is big. So when I have higher than normal stack temperatures, it's telling me a couple things. One, it's bringing my efficiencies way down because I could have the perfect mixture of CO2, O2, have no CO on the building, but I can have higher stack temperatures. What does that tell you? I'm going to wait for you to think about it for 2 seconds, and then we're going to talk about it. Okay, now, when you have higher than normal stack temperatures, it's telling me a couple things. Mainly what it's telling me is my boiler's dirty. Why? Because the absorption going on from the flame through the heat exchange, whatever that may be. So on a steel boiler, I have tubes, the fire's going, and the heat from that flame is going through those tubes and heating the water around it. So the absorption is happening inside those tubes, inside the Morrison tube, which is the chamber, and inside each individual tube as it passes through those passes. If I put a coating of soot, let's call it, gas is, and another thing, guys, I have so many guys, they see a boiler, they see it sooted up, it does happen, and they say that's not gas. It happens too. If you have combustion on gas, 1000% you could soot a boiler. Sometimes it's even worse than oil soot. Oil soot can be a little bit more fluffy and easier to deal with, where gas is a little bit nastier and can be a little bit harder to get under control. But with all that being said, if I have a tube that's 2 or 2.5 inches, give or take, in diameter, right? But then I put a coating of a 1/4 inch, maybe a 1/2 inch, depending on how sooted that boiler is. Do you think the heat passing through can absorb the same as opposed to a clean boiler? Of course it can't, because now I have it's like putting a level of insulation around it. So now as my heat passes through it, that absorbs. So automatically, if I'm seeing 5, 6, 7, 800 degrees of stack temperature on my combustion analyzer, I know that I have a dirty boiler. But then, as a mechanic, it's also 2 levels, because you say, okay, I have a dirty boiler. Great, now what? Well, you clean the boiler, right? I mean, essentially, you're going to turn around, you're going to clean the boiler. But how did the boiler get dirty in the first place? It's a conversation I have to have with my team all the time, because we'll go and we'll clean the boiler. But then if you leave it, chances are you're going to come back and it's sooted again. Now, that's not all the time. Sometimes the numbers could be good, the flame could be good, everything could be good. Something may have happened in between, and then you have a dirty boiler. But on normal circumstances, something caused that boiler to soot up. So I have to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But I'm not trying to go into the weeds. So with that being said, when I have these higher than normal stack temperatures, immediately I'm like, okay, that boiler's dirty. Now, could it be bad combustion? Could it be other things? Yeah, but I don't typically see crazy high stack temperatures. Maybe I'll see a higher stack temperature like in high fire if I don't have great combustion mixtures. But typically when I'm in that 5, 6, 700 degree range, that's a dirty boiler. I don't care. It's almost 99%. Obviously, there are other factors, but those are the main factors. So that's something I have to look at. So now steel boilers coat on the inside, create high stack temperatures, clean the boiler, fix the combustion. Let's move over to cast iron boilers. Let's talk about that for a minute, because these are important also. I'm finding in the city, again, I'm only talking about New York City. I don't know about where you're from. It's becoming increasingly more difficult for me to get the certificate to operate on these boilers, because reaching 80% efficiency on a cast iron boiler is way more difficult, and it takes being a little bit more careful and how you set the boiler up. Now, you also have to remember, on a 3-pass boiler, I'm creating positive pressure just by how long the fire and the heat stays inside the vessel. When you have a cast iron boiler, you literally have a chamber here and the heat exchanges above. Each one is sectioned off, so the heat is being produced inside of here, and then it goes through right through here and right out this the smokestack. I call it a stack, you call it a smoke pipe, doesn't make a difference. Breaching, this, however is easy for you to understand, but it's a very quick transition from the chamber out. So with all that being said, think about that. If I got a dirty boiler there, forget about it. I mean, my stack temperatures are way higher. I've seen them get about 1,000 degrees, which is insane, and that's a plug boiler. And when you plug those sectional boilers, I mean, any of you guys that have done that before, that's a nightmare into itself. I'd rather punch clean a tube boiler than a cast iron boiler any day of the week. There's so much more involved. It's such a pain in the. But with all that being said, these are the things we got to look at. So with a cast iron boiler, I have to be so much more careful, so much more intricate about how I'm going about my business. I got to make sure I have positive pressure, because if you have negative draft before the draft regulator or whatever is regulating your draft for that boiler, then you're going to have the negative draft in the chamber because you're pulling it straight through. And then sometimes it's pulling the flame off the retention head of the burner, and then it's going to combustion, and then you're going to have a dirty boiler. So you have to learn how to test and maintain positive pressure over fire. Again, something I touched on a different video, but I'm bringing this all up because it's intertwined, and I didn't talk about dirty boilers as much on that video as I am on this one, because I wanted to do them a little bit separate, because they are kind of intertwined in how things operate, but it's super important to understand them both separately. So now, to maintain 80% on gas is super hard on a cast iron, because even when I have a clean boiler, you're still going from chamber to smoke pipe instantly. You're not really holding back a lot of that flame, a lot of that heat inside the vessel, because the idea is heat transfer. We're trying to transfer that heat from the flame to the water behind whatever it is that you're heating. So I'm heating that vessel. If I'm losing the heat to the stack, then my efficiencies are super low, because I'm not absorbing the heat I want in the actual vessel itself. So either I have a dirty boiler, or I have to create the combustion in a way by closing off the damper slightly. All the old timers used to leave dampers wide open, but the truth is, these burners work better if you were to actually read the manual. It'll tell you in the manual what positive pressure it wants over fire per your equipment. A lot of these cast iron boilers are usually paired with another burner. Now, some guys will take an inanimate burner and put it inside a boiler, but I've seen that be nothing but problems. A lot of times you really need to be reaching out to the manufacturer and saying, okay, I have a 2,000, a 2 million BTU boiler, and I got to fire gas into it, and I got to change the equipment. What do you suggest? And they'll give you a model number to fire into it. Especially power flames. Again, I don't want to go into the weeds. Each burner does different things, and each burner reacts differently, and the efficiencies are different. Everything reacts differently when you're doing combustion. But with all that being said, you got to be paying attention to what your draft is coming in. So you got to keep that positive pressure over fire, whatever is required by the manufacturer. I'm not going to give you a flat out number. Usually it's like positive 0.01 or something like that. Again, don't hold me to those numbers. I'm not looking at anything right now. I'm just going off my mind. So setting that damper in place, then setting your draft, right? Because if I have a crazy high negative draft going out, it's also going to affect my fire. So on the cast irons, it's almost imperative that you go through these things as much as you go through adjusting gas and air and all those things mixed in between. But remember, guys, a boiler that has extremely high stack temperatures almost every single time is going to lead to my understanding that the boiler is dirty. The cast iron is super important to be pinpoint of what you're doing with what and how you're going about your business, because it will be the difference between the boiler getting dirty or reaching the efficiency numbers that you need. Because we're already right there on the cusp, and I can see over the next 5 years the city changing its requirements. Right now, natural gas at 80%, a couple years from now it could be 82%. And I'll be honest, a lot of times I could be at 80.5%, but I still pass. But if I need to get to 82%, these boilers are going to have a hard time passing. So something to be mindful of. Again, I'm only talking from my experience in New York City. I don't know where you live. Maybe the requirements aren't as stringent, and that's fine. But still, the things I'm talking about apply to you as they should. And if you're working on these types of boilers and equipment, these are some things that you can look out for. Just like every other video we've ever done, we're just giving you some insight based on our experiences, specifically my experiences, and I'm just doing my best to help you out. Now I can take yes, I just keep going on and on and on. That's what it's all about. And I love talking about this. I hope I can feel it in my heart. I hope you can feel it on the other side of this video as you watch it. And it's greatly appreciated, man. The support, the love that we've been getting across all of our social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and here on YouTube specifically. Thank you guys so much. It's so appreciated. If you watch this far into the video, which is 15 minutes, and you haven't subscribed to the channel already, and you got something from this video, please subscribe. At the same time, smash the like button. It really helps us. If you got a question, comment, concern, something you feel otherwise, if you want to talk about this particular topic, or if you want to hear me talk about another topic, please drop a comment below. That's what this is all about. We're trying to create a debate. We're trying to get more ideas to give videos to you guys. We're just going to keep pumping them out. We love talking about this stuff, and I love taking the time out of my day to help you out. I truly am an educator at heart, and it's a passion of mine to discuss these things and things I've learned throughout the years, and I get to share them with you. So it is greatly appreciated. We appreciate you guys being here. Once again, thank you so much. I hope you guys keep killing it. Keep doing well in your business. Reach out if you need anything. Have a great day. Enjoy. Peace.